Silhouette Studio 4.1 has a couple of new tools for altering your designs if you have Designer Edition Plus or higher. We're going to talk about the Warp tool and Conical Warp. The Warp panel can be accessed from the panels on the right. If your screen is small, look for an arrow to pull out more options. The Warp panel icon looks like a warped grid. In the first tab for Warp, let's look at what it does to a heart shape. Select your shape, choose Warp Selected Shapes, and you'll see a grid with adjustment nodes appear over your shape. Drag these handles and nodes to stretch and reshape your design. All of these colored squares and circle nodes can be dragged for manipulation. Restore original shapes. Put your design back to the way it was before applying a warp. We'll click Undo. Release Warp converts the warp shape to standard cut lines and removes the ability to edit that warp. We'll undo again. You can create more or less nodes by adjusting the divisions, columns, and rows. Now we'll look at Conical Warp. This is in the second tab of the Warp panel if you have Designer Edition Plus or higher. Select your design you want to apply to a conical shape, like to a tapered cup. Choose Conical Warp Selected Shapes. If you zoom out, you can see a curved shape that represents your conical surface. You can drag the nodes in the diagram to adjust the shape, or use the sliders and input boxes below. I know my cup is 3.5 inches across the top, 2 1/8 inches across the bottom, and 2 7/8 inches tall. Hit Enter to accept. If you want to make the design itself larger or smaller, don't stretch it with the bounding box handles. Instead, use the slider or input box in the panel. Use the bottom slider to position your design vertically. Once you click Apply, you can no longer edit the conical warp. If you want the ability to edit it further, just click off to the side when you're done setting dimensions. The outer curved border does not cut, as you can see in the Send panel. It just acts as a reference. I hope you're excited about these new warp tools.